Thank you for watching. We're here with Catherine Begay. She's here from District 23 candidate, right? And well, thank you for taking time out of your campaign and coming on our show. This show is about policy, education, that type of stuff. We talk about everything here as long as it's something to do with how the public gets affected.
Right.
So if it's policymakers and whether they're currently in there or people that are looking to get in there and stuff. So. What would you like to do when you get into the legislature? If you have a fair chance like anyone else, what would you like to, what would be the first thing you'd like to work on?
You know, gosh, there are so many things. I for sure want to make changes at CYFD. I think the first thing that we need to do is fully fund them. But the other thing too is I want to stand with some of my supporters and support the issues that are important to them. As I said before, raising the minimum wage is important to them. Fully funding our schools is really important to them. You know, everybody knows a kid, and you want to make sure that that child has a good future ahead of them, that you want to make sure that their teachers are appropriately funded and paid, and that the education system they're in is one of the best. So those are some of the things that I want to get on as soon as I get there. And I know that I'm going to have people behind me because that's the reason why they're supporting me.
Exactly, yeah. We were talking about minimum wage, and the reason why I brought up the part about where the businesses sometimes contest that. When you look at the philosophy behind raising minimum wage, there's two sides to that. One side is a business sector that says, well, no, we can't afford employees if you do that to us.
That's
On
right.
the other hand, that is not supposed to be a living wage.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a minimum, so
Yes.
meaning you have, so if you, nationally, the President Obama wanted to raise it to 10-10.
Yes.
We're a little higher in Santa Fe, here it's a little lower. What would you like to see minimum wage go up to? And
You know, I want it
you
raised.
want to go with what the president suggested, 10-10, or a little bit higher than that?
I think that's a fair starting point. I think that if we can all agree that the wage needs to be raised, that's important. And 10-10 is a good number. 10-10 is the one.
The president suggested 10-10. I think
Yes.
Gary King, running for governor, also said, no, I want to raise it to 10-10.
And you know what's really interesting is our governor even agreed that the minimum wage should be raised. I think her number was $9. We are not that far apart. This is something that needs to get done in this next session.
If we had kept up with the inflation, not going back, say, many years ago, if I'm going back 30, 40, if we kept up with the inflation right now, we should be at $22 an hour. And most individuals don't realize that.
No, I didn't know that.
If you look at cost of living and the inflation rate, and you look at the minimum wage, President Clinton, I listen to some of these former presidents, they always look at it from a very larger point of view. If we kept up with everything, we'd be at $22 an hour. Some states, some nations, I studied European countries where they're left alone. They don't put a marker on. They say, well, let's not talk about minimum wage at all. Let the private sector, because we are a private economy here too.
Right.
We can decipher for ourselves, okay, I want to raise it to $10, $12 an hour. Some businesses can handle it. They say, yes, we can handle it. Many contest that. They say, no, we can't handle this. If you mandate this thing, we won't abide by this.
Yes.
You listen to the mayor saying, no, we can enforce this thing.
Right.
As long as the ordinance is there, we can enforce it. Overall, I think we have to look at the individuals on the ground and say, how does it affect the individual that has to pay bills or working 3 jobs? Not an easy task trying to support children on even 10-10 when you look at it. It's really...
It's not, and we know that people can't support the families that they have now at $750 because look at where things are at now. Clearly that cannot support a family. I mean, states that are neighboring to us, Arizona and Colorado, do set their minimum wage based upon the rate of inflation. Why aren't we doing the same? How can we be so far behind what is working for everybody else? We need to do that. I was reading a study earlier today, and I'm sorry I can't quote where it came from, but it did say that the places that did raise the minimum wage, 12 out of those 13 states are actually seeing increases in their hiring. It's not damaging anybody, it's not hurting anybody, it's actually getting people new jobs.
It does help because at the very least you're looking at the economic structure from the bottom up there rather than top down. Nothing is coming from the top down.
Right.
That trickle down thing is not working. Nothing is trickling down when you look at it.
That's exactly right.
And I usually look at policies from both sides and see how it affects individuals on the ground.
Right.
And if the trickle down works, I say, well, let's see if it works.
Right.
In this case, in our case, we're one of the worst states. since this, and I'm not knocking this governor, but when she came in, we thought, well, businesses will come in. Businesses didn't come in. There's rumors about businesses leaving. They've been here for years.
You know, New Mexico is a great state. We are a great state full of great people.
We're a beautiful state.
Yes, but it's the policies that we have in place that are not promoting what New Mexico is all about. That's why we need people who are different, who bring a different perspective, and those are the people we needed to get into the legislature, people like me.
When you're looking at, and I'm not saying you're not an economic expert. I'm not trying to pin you down on anything there. When you look at the general economics of the state, do you think we should be more business friendly as far as larger business, or just as Gary King was saying, focus on the micro businesses there? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't see why we can't do both. I'm a small business owner here in Albuquerque. I opened my own law firm just over a year ago. My business should also be, you know, it's important to the economy. You know, but so are bigger businesses. There's no reason why we can't support Intel. My understanding, though, is that a lot of the reason why people don't want to bring their big businesses here is because of the systemic problems that we have in New Mexico. We don't have the infrastructure in place, even like the weight requirements of the roads. We don't have a good educational system. It's not ranked high. Nobody wants to bring their children to a state where their children are not going to perform well, or where where the teachers are under attack, or where the school sizes are entirely too large for anybody to learn, or where a student is measured by their test score. That's not how I grew up. I grew up with teachers who read to me, who talked to me, who tested me on certain things, who talked to me about wildlife, who talked to me about why, you know, conservation was important, who talked to me about lots of different things, and didn't then turn around and say, you know, now that you're sitting at your computer, take this test. We need to go back to the old days.
I think I think the culture has to change. The conversation has to change. I think if we don't change any of that, then nothing will happen.
That's right.
We'll keep going downwards, and you know the outlook doesn't look very good right now, but we could possibly change it. I think so.